Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about one of the earliest solos that I ever wrote and recorded and how one of my earliest influences influenced that solo. Today we're going to talk about Gary Richrath of REO Speedwagon. So the song I'm referring to is called Untouchable, and I co-wrote it with my good friend Tim Brown, who some of you may know from other videos on my channel or even his own YouTube channel. But we wrote that back in, I want to say it had to be like 1993 or 94 or maybe even 95. I don't know. It's my memory's a little foggy way back then. It's been a while. And a few years back, I re-recorded the song for one of my own solo EPs, and I pretty much kept the solo basically the exact same as it was, back when I recorded, the first, the original solo. It's not a flashy solo, it's not a, shreddy solo or anything like that, but I just think it's real melodic, and I definitely remember when I recorded it thinking, what would Gary Richrath do here? So, here is the track from my original EP, so you can hear what we're talking about. So that solo might not sound like Gary Richrath, but like I mentioned earlier, I distinctly remember, when I was working up the solo for that song way back then, consciously thinking, what would Gary Richrath do? Because I knew I wanted it to be, melodic and memorable. That's one thing about Gary's solos. They're very often super melodic and very sing-alongable, as I call it. You remember it. And I think it's a little sad that Gary's not, he's very underrated. A lot of people don't bring him up when they talk about, guitar players anymore, which I think is a little sad since, he's no longer with us. And I don't know why that is. Maybe REO Speedwagon, now is kind of known for being kind of, like a pop band, sometimes very sappy. Not the rock band they were, originally, and maybe that's got something to do with it. I'm not sure, but he's definitely an underrated guitarist, and I think he's a really, really good guitar player. One thing that Gary would do often is he would play and slide around on a single string. So I definitely did some of that in this solo. thing Gary would do a lot was use artificial harmonics, so I tried to work a couple of those in too. And finally, Gary would often end his solos with a, with a high bend upwards, so I definitely had to put that at the end. Now, since the recording of, well, both the original solo way back in the day and the, the newer solo that I did on my solo EP, as the vocals come back in after the, the main guitar solo, I do a little extra stuff. I don't remember why or even when I started doing that, but I've been doing it for several years now. So I guess I probably initially discovered Gary and REO Speedwagon for that matter when the High Infidelity album was real big. That album came out in 1980. I remember when MTV was new, they used to play the REO Speedwagon live concert from that tour. They used to play that a lot, and so I remember seeing that a lot when I was a young kid, and it obviously seeped into me because, like I said, I've always liked Gary's playing and stuff. So if you're unfamiliar with Gary, I would suggest starting out with the High Infidelity album, which, like I said, came out in 1980. Multi-platinum album, tons of hits on that album. It's one of those albums where like every song is really good. And then also the 1977 live album, You Get What You Play For, is also really good. So I would say those two things, if you're just getting into Gary, is what I would recommend you listen to. But from High Infidelity back, for sure. Good Trouble came out after High Infidelity. It's got some good songs on it. And then they started going into the more poppy, sappy REO Speedwagon that I guess they're kind of known for now. But yeah, definitely. I would say along with Ace, Gary, Ace Frehley, along with Ace, Gary was probably one of my earliest influences. And sadly, even I kind of overlook him sometimes when I'm thinking about, the guitar players that I like. But definitely a nice guitar player, real melodic and stuff like that. So anyway, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me today. We'll see you next time.
Miss Untouchable.